all of you can scan this QR code for the attendance. Awesome. Yeah, you can scan this QR code for the attendance. And we'll wait for others to join. Okay, so let us start. So today we are going to discuss a new module. Okay, which is the visual basic database, or you can say basic data type and different modules and what are the different operators we are having. So as we know, any programming language like high-level language will basically stand for Visual Basics. It is the high-level language. So we have completed this one study. So we are discussing the graphical method. Properties we have yeah. So we are discussing the graphic properties. So as you know, graphical pattern basically we will use to draw any type of line drawing basically, or if you want to draw a rectangle, or if you want to draw a circle. So on that case, we have to use the module for that. And we have, if you remember in the previous class, we have discussed some of the basic properties, uh, or we can say basic function regarding this method. So in today's class, we will discuss different properties that are associated with this graphical methods. Okay. So as we know, the graphical properties are very useful while working with the graphical methods, and some of the forms of properties we can say using like picture box properties, uh, or we can say line drawing properties, are some very important properties, we can say. Now, if now some of the important properties, like first property to see here, the first property we can see here, which is called draw mode. Okay, so this property, the draw mode property, is basically set the mode of drawing for the appearance of the output from the graphical methods. And in this draw mode properties, we can choose, uh, or we can say we can choose the varieties of option that is available for choosing the values. Like what will be the my width of my line, or we can say even you can select a different colors for the line drawing, or if you're drawing the suppose we are using this draw mode property to draw a rectangle, then we can choose the length and breadth of the rectangle. So these are some properties that will be associated, or we can say some varieties of value that will be associated with this draw mode property. Similarly, second property that we are having is called draw style property. Okay, then here the draw style property, and this draw style property set the line style for any drawing of any graphical method. So it basically deals with how, or we can say it allow us to draw a set of different line style. Uh, for example, we can say if we want to draw a solid line, or sometimes we may want to draw a dotted line or a dash line. So what style of line that we have want to draw, or we can say what style of circle or rectangle that we want to draw, it is given by this draw style property. Fine. And the third property is your draw width property. Now this property is basically associated with your you can say the size of the line, or width, how much the width of the line should be drawn. This particular property is associated with it. And while drawing the shape, we can control the thickness of the line using this property. So now, how big the line is required? Okay, this thing is controlled. Basically, this is controlled by this draw width property. So these are three properties that we have associated with the when we are using this line or graphical method for line drawing. Then next property, that is the fill color. Now this fill color property is associated with whenever we need to fill the color for the particular shape, or when we want to choose any color to a line, so we can use this property. Similarly, next property is a fill style property. Okay, now next property is a fill style property. Now this fill style property let you fill the shape in a particular filling style, we can say. Next is your fore color. Okay, now there will be a background color, and there will be a foreground color. So when we will choose this fore color basically is for your uh, choosing the color for the foreground, or what type of color that will be associated with your foreground. Fine. Next property is your auto redraw. Okay, auto redraw property. Now this basically this set the when we set the auto reader property to true, okay, basically it have two features, or we can say two values, either true or false. And if we set this auto reader property to true, then we will get precise graphic when we are calling this graphical method for any event. Okay, so what will happen? So if you taking this true, now it will be automatically draw a line or draw a circle. Okay, so whenever we are calling the event, okay, or any event that we are calling associated with this property, it will be called true. Next is your clip control property. Okay, clip control property. Basically, this clip control property. Uh, when we set this clip control property to true, again this will be have two values, either true and false. Now, if we are making this property as a true, okay, then the graphical method repaint the object. Right. So what will happen? It will, whatever the object we are having in our form, okay, the object will be repainted. And the last property is a picture property. So this is basically used whenever we need to uh, basically we can say in a form when we require to embed a or place a object or picture. So this property can be used, and this picture property is used to set the picture. Okay, and picture can be set both at design time or at the run time. Fine. Now what will happen? Now I can set this picture. Okay, I can choose or I can set this picture at the either when we are designing the form or even if when we are calling the form, okay, or we are executing the form. So these are some properties that is associated with your graphical method. So whenever you use this graphical tool, okay, so this property you have to remember uh, while drawing any of these things. Okay. Now let us start with very first point: how to draw a point. Okay, how we cannot you can see this is my form. Okay, now this box you can see this is a form, or I can say this is my output window, which is you can see here. Now how we can now this is at the left hand side you can see we have drawn a point here. Okay, now what we have done, now we have created a output window, or we can say output form. Now in this output form we have to draw a point there. So how it is possible? Now let us understand how we can perform this one. Okay. Now first of all, to draw a point, now this so we can say this section shows you how to draw a point using the preset. Now we will basically using preset method. This is a predefined method is available in your toolbox. Okay, graphical toolbox, which is called a preset method. Okay, so whenever we call this method, so it automatically understand that we have to draw a point there. And to use this uh, step keyword with the preset method. Now that will be now along with that preset method, we will have some parameter. Now you have to give the parameter. Now this parameter is basically specify your location. Okay, this is not basically a coordinate. Okay, if I say this is my x and y plane. Okay, this is my entire plane is there. Now this particular location I will represent 100 cross 0 location. That is, in x-axis there will be 100 and in y-axis there will be 500. Fine. Now the same thing is said here. The preset method allow you to draw a point. Now this particular method will always allow us to draw a point, and we need to specify the coordinate here. Now this is my coordinate. Now this will be my x coordinate, and this will be my y coordinate. Okay, that is why we need a coordinate. Now we have to specify the position in my window or form where I have to locate. We can say where I have to locate this point. Right. Now you can also pass a color constant that is an optional argument in this preset method. Now in this case we have not given the third argument. Now here we can have a third argument also, which is your choosing the color of this point. Okay, you can choose the color of this point. Now here we are not given this option because as by default it will take in a black color, but there is option. Okay, third question optional argument is there on which we can give the color option. That means in the form of RBG. Okay, so let us understand this is if now I'm calling it method here procedure. Okay, as you know already we discussed all procedure there is private. Now if it is a procedure, so I will start with sub. Okay, sub defined. This is my procedure, and name of the procedure is CMD show underscore click. And this is my process started, and this is end. Now draw width equal to 100. Now width of this point is given. Okay. Now as we are already discussed, this draw width function. So what a draw width function do? So it will decide the width of the line or width of the point or width of the rectangle. Okay. So what will be my width? Now if we are giving the width equal to 10, that means the size of this point will be 10. Now I'm calling it, you can see now we are calling a preset method here. Now what this preset method will do? Now it will draw a width of 10. Okay, so basically draw a point of width of 10. At what location? The location will be here 100, 500. Because we have given the location here 100, 500. So as you execute this program, so what will the output you get? Now this will be the output that will be given. Now this window will be given the output window. Now you can see here. So once I have executed this program, I will able to create a point. Okay, I will able to create a point at the location, or I can put at the coordinate 100, 500. Fine. So this is how we are drawing a point. So it is clear to all of you. Those who are not given the attendance, just scan this QR code. Those who are joined the class, they can scan this QR code for the attendance. Yes, you can scan this QR code for the attendance. Okay, return the attendance. Fine, so we continue. Okay, let's move on. Now, suppose now this, if you want to shift this property, okay, shift this point. Now, what I want now, initially, if you see this, now the point location is here. Now, if I want to shift this point location from here to here, how that can be possible? Okay, so basically we said that this is have been called relative positioning with the step keyword. How we can position, okay, a particular point with respect to any relevant coordinate. Okay. Now this step keyword allows you to draw in a position relative to the current position. Okay. Now what we are having now, we are basically having a set. Okay. The step keyword is there. Okay. Now this step keyword which will allow us to draw a position with relevant to the current position. Now, for example, now if you see this program, this is my procedure. Now I want to draw a point of this one. Now what we are doing now, I'm saying I'm already prefixing the coordinate like current of x equal to 500 and current of y equal to 500. Now what we have done, now this is my relative position. Now with respect to this position, I have to draw a point. Now I have used this function preset. Okay, preset step method. Now here step is nothing but your with respect to the relative position. What is my relative position? The relative position here is x equal to 500 and y equal to 500. So this is my relative position. Now with respect to this relative position, I am using this coordinate. Now it is 0, 0. So what do you understand? With respect to this two coordinate x and y, it should be 0, 0. That means it will be equivalent to, if I write this one, it will be equivalent to, if I write like this, p set equal to 500 comma 500. Right? Both this is equal, but this is we are written with respect to relative to what? This coordinate x and y. That's the reason we have used here step keyword here. Now step is a keyword which will allow us to position a point relative to the current position. Okay, now this will be my output. Now this coordinate will be what? You see this one. Now this coordinate, this particular coordinate will be my, it will be 500. Now we can see as just what I explained, it is written here, the above code. Okay, so whatever the code we have written here, it will draw a point in the position 00. Okay, in the point 00, position relevant to the current position, that is 500 comma 500. Now this is my relevant coordinate, or we can say current position. So with relevant to this current position, now this will, the code will be draw a point where location will be 500 comma 500. That means the point is drawn in the location 500 comma 500 position, but this is 0 comma 0 position relative to the current position. Okay, now this is important thing. Okay, this step keyword is very important. So whenever we want to draw any point or any line, okay, or any circle relevant to the any given position, okay, any given current position. Clear? So you have to use this step method. Okay, you can note down this one if you want. Just note down this code. Okay. So this is an example for uh, drawing a line. Okay, so I you have studied how to draw a point. Now this is example how to draw a line. Now the line, basically we will use a line method here. Okay, the line method allow us to draw a line in Visual Basic. So that whenever we need to draw a line in a form, or we require the output in the form of a line, so we will use this line method. Okay, line method which will be enable us to draw a line. Now we need to specify the starting point and the finish point, or the finishing point of the line in the output. So the uh, so whenever we draw a line, remember the arguments should be like what will be my the starting coordinate and what will be my the ending coordinate. And there is an optional one. So if you want to give the color to the line also, so that can be also possible. Or there is an optional argument is there. Okay, or you can say another optional arguments are present that will be specify the color of the line, which is optional. Now the simple line, okay, if I want to draw a simple line, the following code shows how to draw a simple line using the line method in Visual Basic. Now this is my program. So this is my procedure I have written. Okay. Name of the procedure is CMD show underscore clip. Drop is equal to 5. Now what I already explained, the drop is will be, it will decide the width of the line. Now you can imagine this is equal to 5. So if I increase this one, if I increase this size of the width like 15 or 20, now this width of this line will be increased. Okay. Now this width property, draw width property is basically associated with the width of the line. Now what is it? A hyphen is required between the 2 points. So this is my comment line as I'm given in single quote in the comment line. So there will, I have to give an hyphen. So I'm using this line method here. You can see here. This is my line method. So what a line method do? So it will let you to draw a line in Visual Basic. So it will allow us to draw a line. But what argument I have to give? Now I am given the initial argument, which is your initial coordinate, which is your 0, 0. Now this coordinate, if you assume now this is your 0, 0 coordinate. Now hyphen is required between these two coordinates. Now next coordinate is your 2000, 2000. Now this is my ending coordinate, which will be your 2000, 2000. So these two arguments are compulsory required. Okay, the starting point of the line, or it is the starting coordinate of the line. Okay, and the ending coordinate of the line. So in this example, the starting coordinate we have considered is 0, 0, and ending coordinate we have considered as 2000, 2000. Now we are given here, this is optional one. So when we are given BB blue, now it indicates that the color of the line should be blue in color. Okay, the color of this line should be blue. So that will be given. I am given here BB blue. Okay, BB blue जब देंगे तो क्या होगा? This color now I can like blue, red also, green also. Okay, so it will get the color. So when we execute this code, okay, so what we'll get? Now we will get an output in this type of window. Okay, window where you can see it is created a line starting from the coordinate 0, 0, and it is ending here. Now as it is a function called show click, now whenever I click this button, okay, now you have to create an event because it is event program. Now what is the event? So event will be clicking on this button called show. So whenever I click this button show, it will display a line of width equal to 5 starting from the coordinate 0, 0, and ending at the coordinate 2000, 2000, and the color of the line is blue in color. Fine. So you can note down this program. Okay, this program where when asked in the questions like write a program or what you understand how we can draw a line in a Visual Basic. So remember this line method is useful. Okay, so just copy this one. Let's move. Now let us understand how this particular slide will explain how we can draw a line with drawing style. Okay, as I'll already discussed, the style method let you enable to draw a different style of line. Like sometimes we need to draw a solid line, sometimes we need to draw a dash line. Okay, so this particular method will allow you to draw a different style of line. Now from draw style property, as we are already seen, so let us allow us to draw a line using a particular style. Now the constant value of the draw style property are, okay, now the value is basically different now in the argument. So if I write 0 here, so it will depend the field is solid. Okay, solid line will be drawn. So by default, it will be always 0. Okay. Now, in the previous example, we have not given any option. So by default, it is 0. If it is 0, it can be understandable that the line drawn will be your solid line. Fine. If it is 1, if I give 1, or the 1 stands for VB dash, okay, now it will be draw a dash line. Now, 2 to indicate the VB dot, it will be draw a dotted line. Now, if it is 3, now it will be VB dash and dotted. If you need both, okay, both like if I want dash and dotted line, like this is my dash, then dot, dash, then dot, dash, then dot. Now, for that we can use either 3 or I can use VB dash dot option. Now, similarly, 4, if I give the option in the automatic option 4, it will be dash dot dot. Similarly, if I give the 5, option 5, so it will be transparent. And for the option 6, it will be inside solid line will be drawn. So this is the argument basically given different, we can say in a draw style, these are the values given in the argument so that what type of line that we want to draw, it will be decided. Fine. The As I already said, the default value will be 0. If you are not giving anything, so it will assume its default value, which will be 0, and the 0 indicate it is a VB solid line. Okay, and we may use the numeric constant or symbolic constant such as VB solid or VB dash. Okay, either use the numeric constant or you can use this character constant or symbolic constants also for the drawing a line. So let us understand this concept with the help of an example. Okay, so one thing you have to note there, so the draw style property does not work if the value of the draw width is other than 1. Now this is very important thing regarding this draw style. Now it will be not going to work, okay, if the I can say if the width of this line is more than 1, or to fit this width of the line which is equal to 1. Fine, so let's understand with the code. Now I've given the code draw width equal to 1, it will be always equal to 1. Okay, if it is other than 1, it's not going to work. So it is always set to the 1. Now given draw style is equal to 1. Now what I indicate is draw style equal to 1. So if you see 1 क्या है यहाँ पर, now 1 equal to the VB dash. So it will draw a VB dash. Now I'm giving a, as I'm using this line property here. You can see here line property 0, 0, starting coordinate and 2000, 2000 VB blue. Okay, now what it is created, now you can see this is the output of this first program up to now. This line 1, I'm giving number as 1. If I'm numbering 1, now this is my line number 1. So why it is dash dash? Because we have given the argument as a what? Draw style equal to 1. And 1 indicate it will be dash type. And the original coordinate started from 0, 0, you can see here. And the last coordinate is here 2000, 2000. Fine. And the color of this line is given as UV blue. You can see the blue color is here. Similarly, if I change the draw style in the second line, okay, in the second line, you can see here, I have changed the draw style. Now here I have given the symbolic constant. Okay, what we have given here? In this, we have given the symbolic constant, that is VV dash dot, or you can give the constant value which is equivalent to 3. Okay, either with the symbolic constant or you can give the value 3 here. Fine, both are similar. Now again, I have what we have called, I am calling a line function, so it will create a line. Now interesting thing, what is the coordinate here? The coordinate is, starting coordinate is 100 comma 900. So that is the reason starting coordinate is something, this one, which is your 100 comma 900. Fine, this is 100 comma 900. But it's not starting from origin. Okay, in the previous case we are starting from the origin, but in this case we are starting from 100 comma 900. Similarly, what is the ending coordinate? Ending coordinate is your, what is the ending coordinate? Now ending coordinate is here. I can see here it is 2800 comma 2800. Now what is color given? The color is given VV red. Now it is showing in the red color. Fine. So what this particular code is doing? This particular code is used for drawing two lines. Okay. So we have used this property of draw style. Fine. So again, the draw style property will decide what type of line that will be going to draw. Okay, in my output window. Fine. And you have to remember, you have to call this function called line function. Whenever you're calling this line function, you have to put the starting coordinate and the ending coordinate, and the optional part is there, which is your beside color of the line. Fine. So one more thing you have to remember: draw style function will only work if the draw width equal to 1. If draw width is other than anything 1, it will not go to 1. Clear? So this is the output of this program. So when we execute this one, so you will get the output in this form of this window. And so you can note out this program. You can copy this, you can note out this one. So any doubt I will take. So because we have left only 1 minute. Okay. So we have left with 1 minute. So if you are having any doubts, then you can ask me. Okay, so if you are not having any doubt, so what we have learned today, so we have seen some of the properties. Okay, some of the properties that is associated with the graphical method. Then we have learned how to draw a point. Then we have learned how to place a point with relevant to any other coordinate. Then we have learned how to draw a line. Then finally we have able to see in a program how we can use the draw style properties for the drawing different type of line drawing. Okay, so with this we will end today's class and we will continue in the next class.